Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Welcome back to our Journey Through the Tarot series where we examine each card one at a time. The deck we are using is, as always, the Housewives Tarot deck by Paul Keppel and Jude Buffum. And this week we are going to take a look at the Priestess, who bears an uncanny resemblance to Mrs. Butterworth, don't you think? But just as the magician represents the male magical practitioner, the priestess also represents the female magical practitioner. She is all feminine, very receptive energy, and she has a well of secrets and magical power to draw upon. In fact, the key words associated with this card are mystery, secrets, and magic. So when the priestess appears in a reading, she can hint that something about the issue at hand is not readily apparent, but it's worth discovering. And depending on the context of this, the discovery could be a doozy. So the querent, or yourself, if you're reading for yourself, you need to definitely know what this is and be able to figure it out. Relating to secrets, this might be a sign that secrets are being successfully kept, or that they will soon be revealed. And of course, which way that goes, it really depends on the context of the reading and on the other cards. But above all, the priestess embodies magic, particularly the spiritual aspect of magic. If we think about the role of what a priestess is, it is about maintaining that connection between humanity and the gods. It's about straddling the veil and having a foot firmly planted on both sides of it, and being equally involved and equally removed from both sides. It's kind of a lonely territory when you think it that way, but that's the space in which witches and also our wizard brothers, this is the space we occupy. This is the path we were called to. We are never fully a part of either side, but yet we are both. And the priestess is a reminder of that. Now, in the booklet, has some interesting things. I love these descriptions. They're such fun. This is what the booklet has to say. Contained deep within her supernatural syrup are the psychic powers and the mysterious knowledge of the universe. When no one else is watching, she may choose to whisper some secrets to you one morning at the breakfast table. Then again, she may not. She often speaks in riddles. Don't expect her to spoon-feed you the answer. See that? You got to put forth some effort. The High Priestess has a dual nature, evil and good, and is available in both dark, thick, and rich original, and diet-friendly, reduced-calorie light. I do like the framing for the Priestess, because it does represent that her power is of a neutral sort. And depending upon the ethics of the Priestess, or whoever this card happens to represent, because sometimes it will represent a specific individual, it will greatly depend on that person's ethics, whether or not they are using everything for uplifting, life-affirming, for good moral purposes, if she has strong ethics, or if she's one of those people who doesn't care, is thoughtless, and is just wreaking havoc because she feels like it. The priestess can represent both types of people, because all of us are capable of both. There is a certain amount of truth to the Native American parable of there are two wolves inside of me, and which wolf wins depends greatly upon which wolf is fed. So it's worth contemplating which of our own impulses are we really feeding. And if we're having aspects of ourselves that fall short of the ideal, we might ask ourselves why. Why are kind of the rough edges of ourselves coming out and getting some sunlight? And these characteristics, could they be redirected in a constructive way? Lots to think about here. And I also want to touch again on the idea of not being spoon-fed answers. To be perfectly blunt, the internet has made all of us horrifically lazy. Why bother to learn? Why bother to reason on things? Why bother to meditate when you can just Google the answer, have it before you in 2 seconds, and you don't really have to think about it. You just have to accept and then parrot what Google told you. Not good. Not good. We've got to hold ourselves to a much higher standard. We can't just look up one source, think, oh, we have the answer, and not even contemplate what the reasoning for that viewpoint was. As you can see on my very messy bookshelf back behind me, there's a lot of different books there. There's a lot of different topics, very different authors. They do not all agree. And because they don't all agree, and because over the years I've made it a point to consider the reasons that they have for their viewpoints. Not just what they say, but why they have said it, and what that implies for the information if it's put into practice. And it's been beneficial. It's worthwhile contemplating these things, and the Priestess is sometimes that nagging card that is directing us to do just that. Another interpretation of this card is that the Querent is being called to pursue a more spiritual path. Perhaps this is an aspect of their life that's been much neglected, or they just didn't really give it any thought. They believe there's something out there, but they haven't really directed their mind to trying to figure out what that might be or what that might mean for their lives. Another possibility is that the Querent is being called to a form of priesthood, in some sense of the term. Now, if you're Wiccan is a path of priesthood. I mean, we are our own intercessors between ourselves and the gods. Even in covens, and you might have the high priest and the high priestess taking on leadership roles, but that's more so for the sake of organization, and it's not a commentary on the other members of the coven's ability to make that direct contact with the gods themselves. It's just about having rituals being conducted in an orderly fashion. That's really the purpose of that sort of hierarchy and structure. So, got to think about this. Do we find ourselves becoming more involved with the gods? Are we showing greater honor to them? Are we looking at their mythologies more deeply, making an effort to try to reach out to them? And if we are, it might be that we are being brought along that path. Maybe we're about to discover who our patron or who our matron deity is. Perhaps there's someone who we've never worked with before, but they've taken an interest in a particular aspect of our life because what's going on in the here and now, and that might be the beginning of, an association with them. Long-term, short-term, they're there for a reason. If once we discover what that reason is, we can benefit from their presence. There's a lot of different possibilities here, and it's worth taking them into consideration when we have the Priestess join us. So, I think that's it for the Priestess. Next week we are going to be looking at the Hierophant, and we'll discover what he's all about. If you haven't seen the rest of the Journey Through the Tarot series up to this point, it is available on my BitChute channel. If you can't find a specific video, come to the Discord group, let me know which one you're looking for, and I'll be happy to post a link to where you can just immediately access it. But I think that's it for now. I'll see you in another video.